Hello, my name's Carlo. I'm a San Francisco-based photographer, and welcome to my channel. For those who may recognize me from Camera West TV, welcome. If not, welcome. I kind of want to use this channel to show you more behind the scenes, kind of take you through my workflow, maybe share more photos in this way. I used to write more on my website, kind of more blog-esque style, so I think this would be a fun way to re-energize that section of my website, and you can kind of see more of my work rather than see it flash on the screen. But in any case, I wanted to use this first video to share my behind the scenes for a collection that I shot with my friends over at Moon Collective. They did a collaboration with local artist Ian Johnson. He's the creative and art director, I believe, for FTC. He's also done a lot of artwork, and I'm not sure if he owns Western Edition skateboards, but pretty much does all the art for that. And I didn't know who he was at first. I only knew of Ian Johnson through his art, but it's really cool that I got to have this opportunity to kind of bridge that gap. So big shout out to Ben for asking me to photograph this new collection. I was really excited to check it out and, have this opportunity to also check out their new space. So right now we're gonna cut to what I recorded maybe about a few weeks ago. The collection's already out by the time you're watching this, so you can check out all of that on their website. But yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts and process behind the entire shoot. I also got to work with my friend Brock, who was modeling in these photos, as you'll see in a little bit. But yeah, so I'm gonna cut to that, and then we'll just see how this first episode goes. Anyway. All right, so we're on our way to the new Moon Collective studio. Pretty much they never had a storefront before. This will be their first kind of like physical space in the Bay Area, which will be really exciting. Moon Collective has been a staple in the Bay Area for a really long time. You may have seen them at West Coast Craft. You may see them in Hawaii, New York, LA. It's pretty fun. It's a nice like collective group of people who are all artists. They all kind of like to do something creative outside of their day jobs. So we're going to take a look at this new collection that he did with Ian Johnson. Right now I'm just using a corded headphone and my phone to record this. So I might, well, depending on how this audio quality is, we'll figure it out. I'll see if I want to keep using this or not, but most likely I'll switch back to my wireless mics. But yeah, I'm going to start driving over there and we'll give you a first look at the new studio. I'm gonna try recording it like this. So yeah, we just got to the studio. Pretty much it's, I don't know if you can see that, but it's right there. It's going to be a new storefront and studio space for Moon Collective. So let's go inside and go say what's up. What's up, Ben?
How's it going?
Like the new studio space.
Thank you, my man.
So at this point, I got to check out Ben's new studio space for Moon Collective. Pretty much they aim to have this be a multi-purpose space, with it being pretty much the HQ for Moon Collective. They've been around for a pretty long time and they're coming up on 10 years, which is awesome, so congrats to them. And I think it's pretty cool that this brand has been around for such a long time. They have roots over in Hawaii, LA, New York, kind of just all over. So I think the idea of Moon Collective is something that I identify with. It's pretty much a collection of friends, artists, colleagues, and just overall good people who want to make something and do something creative outside of their day jobs. So I feel pretty honored every time I get to photograph like a collection for them. I've done a few of them in the past with my friend Martin. I think it's pretty cool that we get to share our talents in such a creative way. The idea was to use as much natural light in the space as possible. Ben and I talked about shooting film and digital. I don't really have a preference for both. Personally, well, that's a lie. I like film a little bit more, but digital was great for just the speed and instant feedback. Choosing film is one of those conscious choices. But anyway, I chose to shoot some 120 film alongside digital just to give a mix of different mediums. I personally like the look of the 6x7 format just in general. I think it tends to look better aesthetically and it pairs better for most compositions, whereas the 3:2 ratio, sometimes you feel a little limited. I think it does help that you get more out of your frame, but I also kind of like the challenge of having less frames in a different aspect ratio. It definitely makes you think a little bit more about what you want to photograph or like how you want to frame things in your space. So kind of went with a 50mm lens for the digital, and then on the Mamiya, as you can see, I have a 65, also in just two different lenses, but I thought they paired pretty nicely. I pretty much filmed everything, or most of everything, in a time lapse, mostly because I like the look of the time lapse, and for whatever reason it's just fun to watch us move really fast and blow through this whole shoot. I'm kind of just talking to Brock, we're kind of just catching up, you know. I've skated with him a couple times and he's a really good skater, so you should check him out. And then, you know, catching up with Ben. It's fun to have these moments like before the shoot just to kind of warm up and really get in a good groove and headspace. So right here I'm doing a couple test shots. I just want to see how, you know, exposure wise, what the space will look like. It's pretty soft lighting in there, especially with these like sheer curtains. I think it was pretty interesting that it's soft, but you get these like little spots of like more spotlight type of texture in the background. Ben was wanting to go with more of a kind of light, airy look, so I was shooting everything pretty much wide open, especially for the digital. I think having that kind of softness come out in, you know, the out of focus areas. I was using a 51.4, so that really helped bring out and accentuate a lot of the product, but also kind of give this like smooth look to it. And then I would also mix in the medium format film. With the lens on the Mamiya, I only have, you know, it only goes down to f4, so obviously I couldn't get as much light. So I decided to push some Portrait 800 to 1600 to kind of give it a different look and also be able to shoot at a much faster shutter speed. I forget if I was shooting everything wide open, but I think I was for the most part. I don't really push film that much these days, but for, you know, special situations like this, I think it worked in my favor. Just having this like extra punch and contrast gave it such a different look from the digital. I think it's a different like mood and aesthetic as well, but overall, I'm pretty happy with the results. I'm just directing Brock and kind of like messing around. I think even though I was shooting both digital and film, I think the digital let me like practice and kind of see certain compositions that I thought would be interesting, or like, you know, kind of play around with the lighting. So it gave me a little bit more freedom, where if I was just shooting film, then that kind of limits me and forces me to be a little bit more critical. With stuff like this, I kind of want to have more options than less. And also workflow wise, you can get through digital files obviously much more quicker than film. I think the pairing of both of them lended to different aesthetics that kind of work well together. You definitely get a much different mood and you get a much different type of energy from both shots. In this part here, I totally thought I was recording in time lapse, but this is just real time. It was actually slow-mo, so yeah, that's probably why it looks so hyper sharp. I don't know if that's the right term, but I don't know. It looks odd, like fully just normal speed, but yeah. Anyway, I thought it was interesting that there was this spot of light coming in from the windows. It was kind of being framed by the curtain, and you'll see in a second that Ian Johnson's like known for having these like character faces, or they're not really characters, they're actual people's faces. He actually did a jazz series with these famous jazz musicians, and they have these like fun color blocking shapes coming from behind their heads. So you'll see when Brock turns around in a little bit, I kind of wanted to emulate that kind of shadow play with the shirt. So right here you can see you have the heads, and then you have basically like colored shadows following and kind of placed in a way where it's almost like a psychedelic type of wave. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but I thought that was really cool, and I tried to use that natural light to bring it into real life as well. So I think Brock's silhouette, especially with the hat, like you can kind of get that from these photos. That was one of my favorite parts of the shoot. I think I had a lot of fun playing with these natural sources of light. It was definitely much more challenging than using, if I were to use like a strobe or continuous light to like place that shadow where I wanted it. But having that kind of natural progression of where the light is going, it really makes you think quicker about your photo. It's almost kind of like street skating, you have to think about the light, you have to think about the spot, you have to think about how like external environments change like pretty rapidly. But in any case, I think we got the shot and it worked really well. I think it was like 6 pieces total or 8 pieces total. I think it was fun to really utilize the outside of the space too and create these like vignettes that are more voyeuristic. I really like the aesthetic of like certain photos where you catch people kind of acting more naturally. In this sense, I'm not like fully directing him. I'm just giving him loose direction and having him kind of move naturally. I didn't want anything to be too posed or too forced. Obviously, I am giving him some direction for some things, so that way we have more variation of compositions, poses, body posture. I think Brock did really well on this shoot. This was our first time working together, so it was really cool to just get to know him and really just work together on this. Thanks again to Ben for really putting this on for us. It was really fun. I definitely wanted to incorporate some more backlit type of photos and use some of my flash to have some type of dynamic lighting. I know that we wanted to use mostly natural lighting, but sometimes I can't help but not want to think outside the box as well and kind of use artificial light in a way that it adds a little bit more of an accent, and it's not necessarily like a strobe or anything. I'm just using like a little speed light that was attached using one of these cords. So, gotta incorporate some of the natural, I guess, street photographer style into these photos. I thought that this curtain, having some soft light come behind him and then having this flash come in and like illuminate his front, I thought that was a fun little way to switch up the look of some of these photos. Plus, flash on film, I think, is just one of the better looking types of photos. It's not something that I typically get to do, but when I do work on portrait shoots, I definitely experiment more, and I tend to utilize things that I wouldn't normally do in the street, or I guess just like in a practical way. I think it's pretty fun to just kind of have fun and not put too much expectation or hard expectations on the results. I think when you get hung up on trying to make a perfect photo, that's when you start kind of, blocking yourself out in a way. But I think that's how you get stuck shooting multiples of the same photo, just trying to perfect it. And sometimes you just need to move on. And at least with, the 120 film, you kind of have to move on. With the digital, you kind of can get stuck, but I think having the discipline of film, trying to incorporate that more with my digital work, helps me kind of progress and just realize that I have the shot. Pretty much this last part, this was like the final look. We were just photographing outerwear and kind of the last few cut and sew pieces. I just wanted to have Brock do a few flat ground tricks. I thought it'd be kind of cool to just like throw in some skateboarding here and there. And, he's got a really good kickflip. He's got a really good ollie. Just really good skate style overall. So it works from a photographic sense, and also just like aesthetically, he's just got good skate posture. So we're back from the shoot, back home. Pretty much this is my desk. I have a nice working area for all my photo work. Pretty much the shoot went pretty well. Brock is a really great guy, super easy to work with. I think his laid-back nature really added to all the photos. I think it was just a perfect combination. That collection should probably, hopefully by the time you're watching this, is already out. I still need to go over the photos and send the film out. So probably pick back up on recording in a little bit, and then maybe might even have a different mic situation, but who knows? We'll see. It's the first episode, first of maybe many. We'll see how long I stick with this. But anyway, I'm gonna go skate for a little bit and look at the photos later. So, cut. As you may have guessed, I already got the film and I went over the photos. Yeah, honestly, this was such a fun shoot. I think it was fun to experiment with Ben and Brock and kind of bounce ideas off of them. I think whenever I do these shoots, I try not to have too many preconceived notions or just like going in with a super hard set idea. I think it's fun to kind of let the area and space and kind of the day help guide where you want the direction to go. It was definitely helpful that Ben gave me, a little Pinterest board or like mood board beforehand, so I could kind of get an idea of what he was imagining, and then from there we can just bounce ideas back and forth like in real time and really communicate to each other. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? So, like I said, I like the idea of Moon Collective where it brings different artists and people together in a unifying way to share their talents and really combine their efforts into something like this. So with that, thank you again to Ben, thank you to Brock, and thank you to Ian Johnson. You guys really did a good job on this. And I also want to shout out Underdog Film Lab for the quick turnaround. By the time you're watching this, the collection's already out. I guess I was a little late on releasing this video. I had initially planned to make this video earlier, but the week has been super busy, so better late than never. But I think that's pretty much gonna do it for this episode or video. I really still don't know what to call these. I think I'm just too stuck in the Camera West kind of mindset when I film videos. I like calling them episodes, but I don't know. I feel like I want to be a little bit more loose with this. And I think it's fun to share a little bit more story behind the photos and kind of how you get from concept to final idea. But anyway, thank you for watching this behind the scenes for this new collection. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to end these yet. So I guess you may have noticed I was using, a corded headphone before. I might start using this. I also might switch up the camera at some point, but who knows? I'm gonna just see what works and kind of go from there. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. Thanks for watching.